Utah's Great Salt Lake, the largest saltwater lake in the Western Hemisphere, is disappearing. It's more than a landmark, it's a lifeline. Its water supports wildlife, protects our winter snow, fuels our economy, and shapes daily life for more than 1 million people along the Wasatch Front. But today, the lake is shrinking faster than ever, and what happens in the next decade will determine the future of our health, our air, and our economy. The Great Salt Lake once stretched across thousands of square miles, supporting a complex and unique ecosystem. Migratory birds, brine shrimp, brine flies, and wetlands all rely on this environment. The lake also generates $2.5 billion annually through minerals, brine shrimp, and tourism. Even though our winter storms depend on it, as the lake evaporates, less water rises into the atmosphere, and our snowfall decreases. All of these systems are connected, and they're now at risk. The lake didn't shrink on its own. Every year, more than 600 billion gallons of water that should reach the lake are diverted upstream. 70 to 82% of that water goes to agricultural use. The rest is split between cities, industries, and recreation. Because of these diversions, the lake loses more than 1.2 million acres of area every year. The rapid decline over the last 2 decades has pushed the lake to an endangered state. The lake is one of Utah's most important economic engines. Mineral extraction alone brings in more than $1.3 billion annually. 14% of the nation's magnesium supply comes from this lake. Brine shrimp harvested here support a global seafood industry as well. And Utah's winter economy, from skiing to snow tourism, relies on the lake snow effect the Great Salt Lake helps generate. As the lake shrinks, all of these industries face collapse, putting thousands of jobs and families at risk. In 2023, Utah approved a long-term strategy to help stabilize the lake. Multiple state and federal agencies now work together under a 30-year restoration plan. The goals sound pretty straightforward. Restore lake levels, use real science to guide decisions, and improve Utah's water and air quality. But the political reality is much more complicated. Bills rise and fall. Support grows after a crisis and fades after a wet winter. Many researchers warn that relying on one good snow year ignores the long-term trend of aridification, a gradual dying of the entire region. Utah receives about 61 million acre-feet of precipitation every year, but 87% of it evaporates or leaves the basin. Only 12% becomes usable water supply, and more than half of that evaporates again. What's left is just 5%, and this is the water that residents, cities, and industries rely on. Of that small amount, 82% goes to agriculture. The remaining 18% supports Utah's homes, businesses, parks, and utilities. When you see the breakdown this way, it becomes clear how little water actually reaches the lake, even in wet years. As the lake shrinks, thousands of acres of exposed lake bed turn into dust sources. Wind picks up these particles, many of them containing arsenic and other harmful materials, and blows them across the valley. This dust worsens asthma, heart disease, lung problems, and air quality alerts. Residents feel these effects now. This isn't a distant threat. It's happening right in our neighborhoods, our schools, and the daily air that we breathe in every single day. Utah has already begun changing the way water is managed. For years, the use it or lose it system discouraged conservation. But new reforms now allow people to lease, donate, or share water with the Great Salt Lake. Groups like the Great Salt Lake Watershed Enhancement Trust are proving that this works. One partnership delivered over 10,000 acre-feet of water to the lake from Utah Lake, and a farm near Huntsville recently released more than 600 acre-feet of its own rights to support lake inflows. These are real projects, not ideas, showing that cooperation can put water back into the system. This approach, called market-based conservation, rewards voluntary reductions rather than forcing cuts. It ensures that water is tracked, measured, and actually reaches the lake. State agencies have also created long-term plans and funding, like the Great Salt Lake Basin Integrated Plan, to keep these efforts consistent and science-based. Saving the lake doesn't require extreme measures. It requires staying committed to the strategies that are already working: conservation, leasing, and transparent tracking of every drop that's delivered back to the Great Salt Lake. The Great Salt Lake is tied to everything: our air, our water, our jobs, and our future. Most Utahns want the same things: cleaner air, a stable lake, and an economy that doesn't collapse with the shoreline. If we choose solutions that bring real, measurable water back to the lake, we can protect the valley for generations. If we don't, the cost will reach every home, every paycheck, and every breath we take. The future of the Great Salt Lake isn't written yet, but we're the ones writing it.